Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, and welcome to episode 3 of Real Talk for Lightworkers. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why you are going to annoy them and why you must do it anyways. Alright, so essentially, what do I mean by you are going to annoy them and you must do it anyways? Well, what I mean by this is them pretty much means most of society, alright? And it pretty much refers to what you are as a human being a light worker here on the planet, alright? So there's this lovely thing that happens with light workers where we all tend to be, right, incredibly unique, powerful, strong beings that see the imbalance in the world, right, that see how things are not going well, and that are here to create massive changes, right? We're here to assist in the awakening and the evolution of consciousness, which entails that we are here to stir things up, to point things out that are not working, and to show a new way, all right? So with this, you came pre-designed as a very specific being, right, with very specific ways of being that were probably deeply rejected by your family and your friends and your caretakers and those who were raising you, right? Just like we talked about in the Emotional Mastery series, right? This is especially true for light workers, all right? That you came as a juxtaposition to culture. You came as a juxtaposition to what we want to label as normal. You came as a juxtaposition to the system that is stifling and counterintuitive to life and to expression and to all these lovely, beautiful things that we want to have on the planet, right? At the same time, you are incredibly empathetic and you don't like making anyone uncomfortable. You don't like to be around discordant vibration. And so rather than developing in a way where you said, I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to watch how allowing myself to express who I am actually creates a much more harmonious environment for myself and the planet, what you did was you said, okay, these parts of myself that everyone doesn't like, which are the real fundamental parts of myself that are my giftings, that are here to be expressed to change the way that we look at ourselves and the way that we live as society. You took all that stuff and said, okay, that's making everyone around me very uncomfortable, and I'm going to shut it down, okay? And then this is where you, as a light worker, developed all of your self-sabotaging behavior, all right? So this is where you started to have a terrible relationship with money. This is where you started to allow yourself to have really toxic, codependent relationships where you allow people to walk all over you, or where you over-sacrifice yourself for the people in your life, or you seem to be kind of like a magnet for people who are struggling and suffering but not really wanting to get better and are just kind of wanting to leech off of you, get better. They're not really wanting to step into their own light. They are wanting to just kind of take advantage of your light and squash you in a way, right? And this is where you develop your weird eating stuff, and this is where you developed all of these kind of self-destructive coping mechanisms that allowed you to essentially quash all of these world-changing aspects of yourself in order to fit into society and not make people uncomfortable. Okay, that being said, because of who you are fundamentally, right? Because of the vibration that you carry fundamentally, this is something about you that cannot be changed. All right, so this is the first thing to understand, is that as much as you have engaged in your self-sabotaging behavior, as much as you may have rejected and squashed and gotten rid of all of your kind of like natural tendencies, all these things that you thought were going to get you rejected, your giftings, all of these things about you, you never ever actually able to get rid of them. Okay, so that's something to really understand. Even if you're physically squashing them down, like you're not actually living it out, like you're not, like you don't feel like you're living as a light worker, like you really don't feel like you're expressing your light working characteristics, like you don't feel like you're empathetic or like you're prophetic or like you're any of these things. Just the fact that you are who you are means that your vibration that you emit when you live is going to be this light working vibration. It's going to be this discordant with the discordant life vibration. Okay, so you may have noticed that you can just be sitting there, right, doing nothing, and like, right, you walk into the room and your family seems to be doing fine, and then you walk into the room and then all this chaos ensues, and you didn't even say anything, you didn't even do anything, it just like exploded, right? Or you're just sitting there not really doing anything and people are like irritated with you. You just notice that you cause this kind of like ripple effect of what seems like destruction, right? Wherever you go, no matter how much you're trying to stifle or quash yourself. So this actually reminds me, if any of you were part of like the Disney generation, the movie Hercules, right? So in the myth of Hercules that the Disney version shows, which is not necessarily the right version, but anyways, in the Disney version of Hercules, Hercules was a god, right? He was born of Zeus and his wife, and then he was essentially cast down into the earth to become a human, right? But because he was a god, right, and he was born of a godly nature, he maintained his, like, a thread of godliness even in his human life. And so what would happen with young Hercules before he learned how to harness his strength, right, so his superhuman strength that he had, that was part of the gifting of Hercules, before he learned how to harness that strength, he would essentially walk into town, and there's this scene where he walks into town and he like accidentally knocks one thing, and it like causes this whole domino effect, this whole cascade effect of just like, you know, this one thing he knocks over this thing, knocks over this, and by the end of the scene, that's like everything in the town has like fallen down, and everyone's like, Hercules, we hate you, blah, blah, blah. And this is like a perfect description of what it's like to be a light worker who is not fully grounded and not fully anchored in our giftings, okay? It doesn't matter what you do. When you walk around with that vibration, you cause destruction, right? You literally break down the system. You break down the town. That's what's happening, right? So like in this scene, we literally see Hercules destroy he destroys the town, right? He destroys the natural, or the flow of what everyone is doing in their day-to-day life. And that's what a light worker is here to do, okay? Because we need to understand fundamentally the way that society is currently living is not wrong in the sense that we shouldn't be doing it, okay? We are learning a lot from the way that we live and the way that we are. And so this is not a judgment. However, we also need to say that we are living out of alignment with that which supports life. And that, again, is super obvious. We've talked about this a lot in a lot of our videos, right? We are destroying our bodies, we're destroying the planet, we're destroying each other. It's not working, right? We are living out of harmony with the laws of nature. We are living out of harmony with the laws of ourselves, which are all the same laws. Bottom line, this society isn't going to work, right? And so you came as a light worker with natural, inborn giftings that are here to shift the way that humanity works, okay? Now, being that that is the case, and being that the society that we live in is a society of fear, you can see now why you have been so deeply rejected, right? Because when we're in a state of fear, we don't want change. Change is the worst thing ever. Change is the scariest thing ever. We just want to keep everything the way that it is, right? We don't want to change. So, like, for instance, like, there are so many right now alternate sources of energy that we could easily rely upon to supply the entire world with energy, and yet we're not willing to give up oil, right? Not because we need it, not because there isn't another system that could be just as sustainable or better, not because blah, blah, blah. It's the system that's in place and we're not ready to let go of it. Like, that's really the bottom line. We don't want to change. That's all that it really boils down to, right? There are 100 million other systems, obviously, out there that are the same way, but that's a good example for one, okay? And then, so we need to understand that, you know, on a macro and a micro level, as a light worker, you're here to change shit. As a light worker, you are here to change shit. As a light worker, you are here to be different. You are here to be juxtaposition to culture. Now, when you are rejecting yourself, you are actually a destructive force. And this is something we need to understand deeply as light workers as we move forward here. Okay? The fact that you have decided you don't want to make people uncomfortable with being who you truly are, and you have tried to squash and get rid of your natural inborn way of being that is here to cause change on the planet, okay? You have not been able to stop causing ripples, okay? You are still an energetically active part of society, which means you emit a vibration whether you want to or not. You emit a vibration and you're causing change to happen, and whether you want to or not. So there's no such thing as I'm not going to cause change. There's no such thing as I'm not going to have an effect. There's no such thing as I'm not going to participate. That's not a thing, okay? You're always participating. So when you go into self-rejection, and you go into self-rejection, you go into self-destruction, right? Because again, anything that we don't love, we don't take care of, and it will descend into chaos, right? When there is not love, there is fear. Fear always creates a descent into chaos. Fear always creates entropy. Fear always creates a disorganization, right? Love is what creates order. Love is what creates creation. Love is what creates structure. Love is what creates the new thing. So when you have decided to reject yourself, you plummeted yourself into a vibration of fear. There are parts of you that have been rejected, right? That are your light working parts that have been rejected because you didn't want to get rejected, right? So now those light working parts are like Hercules in the town, okay? They're still your strength, they're still your gift, but you're using it, you're rejecting it, and therefore it's coming out as shadow, and it's causing destruction for you and everyone else. All right? So this might be a tough pill to swallow, but this is the fundamental foundational truth of the matter. If you are rejecting your giftings, if you are rejecting who you are, if you are rejecting the innate light working abilities that you have come here with to change the world, you don't stop making people uncomfortable. You're still going to make people uncomfortable but in a way where you're actually causing destruction. Now, this is not something that I want you to turn in on yourself and be like, oh my God, I've been causing destruction and I'm a terrible person and blah, 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 blah. None of that. Of course not, right? Because again, more self-rejection is obviously not the answer to self-rejection. So just don't even go down that path. Like really, right here, right now, decide and commit. You're not going to go down the self-blame path, okay? Hearing the rest of this video is not going to send you into a tailspin of, oh my God, I've been so terrible. It's useless. It's really just completely useless, and you don't need to go there, okay? And I'm just telling you that. Like really, you don't need to go there. So just don't. You can choose not to, right? But what I want you to understand is that the truth of the matter is when you are embracing your light working abilities, all right? I've posted on Facebook a couple of times that your weaknesses are actually your strengths. And this is what I meant by that. When you are rejecting your light working abilities, they turn into your weaknesses. Okay? They turn into your self-destructive behaviors. They turn into the things that you feel like are wildly out of control, right? So you might have a prophetic nature, but you don't have control over it. You seem to like hurt people with your words more than you uplift them, right? Because it's coming from a place of fear. You have a prophetic nature and you're always like really scared about people doing things, or you're trying to rescue them all the time, and you're like trying to micromanage everybody because you think everyone's like heading for destruction all the time. And you're technically right, but because it's coming through a filter of fear, right? You're not able to elevate the vibration for everyone around you, right? You're not able to offer a new solution. All you're doing is staying in their vibration of fear and essentially participating in it, right? So that's one thing. Another thing, any of your self-destructive behaviors are going to be reflective of gifts that you have that you are squashing. So again, this is why this emotional mastery series that I have put out is fundamental if you're a light worker. Because it's not just you as a normal human being or whatever, if that even exists, but whatever, rejecting a part of yourself, and that's not great, and you shouldn't be so self-destructive. It's really like when you are rejecting your light working parts, you literally are like Hercules in the village. You have the strength still, but it's unwieldy, right? And it causes a bunch of chaos and a bunch of destruction. And so understand, you're not going to get rid of your light working parts. You're not going to get rid of the parts of you that are here to change society. You're not going to get rid of those things. You're never going to be able to quash them. You're never going to be able to get rid of them. You're never going to be able to subdue them to the point where they're not emitting, all right? It's always going to be happening. So what you need to do is learn how to love those parts of yourself, to learn how to come into alignment with the part of you that is here to create change, that is here to disturb things, that is here to disrupt things, and to see that through the empath eyes that, yeah, sometimes telling the alcoholic that you're not going to buy beer for them anymore, right, causes them to feel uncomfortable, but that is the most loving thing you can do in the moment. You see what I'm saying here? You came here to disturb shit because things need to be disturbed. Things need to be brought to the surface. New solutions need to be enforced, right? And it's going to take people who are fully engaged in their light working ability, who are no longer waiting for the world to give us permission to be who we are, right? We're not waiting for the world necessarily to even ask us to make the change. We are saying, I am going to be the change. Whether you like it or not, you don't have to love me, you don't have to accept me, you can be as irritated with me living my life the way that I live it as you want. But at the end of the day, I'm a light worker, I have gifts, I have skills, I have talents. I don't fit into normal society, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fully embrace who I am, I'm going to fully embrace my gifts, and I'm going to watch as the universe supports me and creates a little pocket of existence that I fit exactly into. And you're going to notice this. The more you come into alignment with who you are, the more you come into alignment with accepting your giftings, the more you come into alignment with, yes, I am an empath and I care deeply about making people uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, people are uncomfortable because they're out of alignment. People are already super uncomfortable. People are not happy. It's not like you're walking in on your family that's super happy and causing destruction. That's not what's there. What's actually happening is you are the barometer, right? When you walk into the office, you walk into the social circle, you walk into your family, and it seems like you just cause all this chaos, you're not causing it. You're the barometer that's bringing it to the surface, where everyone else is pretending it doesn't exist, okay? So you're going to annoy them. You're going to annoy them. And you're going to annoy them even when you're living in your own world. You're not imposing your shit on them at all. Like, you are living how you live in your house with your family, right? People learn about that and it's going to irritate them. And that can't stop you. You need to be the change that you want to see here. So this is not necessarily about going out and enforcing your way on people. Not at all. It's not about pretending that you don't have a thing that you know you need to do to be different. It's in the middle of those things. You need to embrace who you are and live your life. You need to be okay with the fact that you're different and you make people uncomfortable and you stir shit up. Understanding that the more you accept this part of yourself, the more you love this part of yourself, the less chaotic it will be. The less destructive it will be. You will walk into the room then and you will still stir things up, but it will be in a much more loving, less chaotic, less crazy way. And that's what I really want you to get from this video. Okay? When you are rejecting the light working parts of yourself, that's when it's really crazy and destructive. When you start to love and embrace these light working parts of yourself that you have rejected, they will cease to be so destructive and chaotic. They will start to express in a way that creates order, that creates structure, that creates organization in your life and other people's lives. So stop rejecting yourself. Know that you're going to annoy them, do it anyways, and see how it actually becomes more harmonious. That's the juxtaposition. Okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave those down below. Like, subscribe, share, join us on Patreon. We're all light workers in there. That's basically what we talk about. That's what we're doing. If you have any topic requests, stuff that you're going through that you don't understand or whatever, send those my way. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Mwah.